All right, let's talk about one of the toughest battles anyone can face. We're going to get into how you can start taking back control from addiction. For real.
You know that voice, right? That little whisper in your head. Just one more time. It's not a big deal. Yeah, that voice. It's the one that keeps you stuck in that cycle you're so desperate to get out of.
Well, today we're going to give you the actual tools to shut that voice down. And I don't mean for a day or a week, I mean for good. And we're going to do it with real, practical strategies that are based on how your brain actually works. So, where do we even begin? Well, first things first, let's talk about all that common advice you've probably heard a million times, and why, honestly, most of it just doesn't work. I bet you've heard these, right? Stuff like, you just have to want it enough, or make a list of all the reasons to stop, or my personal favorite, simply decide you're done. I mean, they sound nice, but they totally, completely miss what's actually happening inside your head. Look, let's just be blunt here. This kind of advice, it's completely useless. It doesn't work. And that's because addiction is not some simple test of willpower. It's not something you can just fix by making a pro-con list. And this right here is the absolute core of the problem. We have to understand this. Addiction is not a moral failing. It's a biological battle. There is literally a chemical war going on inside your brain, and you can't win that war with just good intentions. So to really get why this is happening, we've got to dive into a little bit of science, the science of craving. And it all boils down to one super powerful chemical in your brain, dopamine. So what is dopamine? Think of it as your brain's reward chemical. It's that little hit of yes you get when you eat something delicious, or level up in a video game, or even just scroll through your phone. Its job is to make you want to repeat behaviors that feel good. Here's the problem, though. Addiction completely hijacks this system. You indulge, and bam, you get this huge, unnatural flood of dopamine. But then, when you stop, your levels don't just go back to normal. They crash. They plummet way below baseline. And your brain, which is now used to that massive high, basically throws a tantrum. It screams for more. And that scream, well, that's the craving you feel. So our first job is to basically retrain our brain. We have to teach it how to live again without that constant, crazy rush of instant pleasure. We need to break that dependence. All right, so how do we actually do that? How do we start this whole retraining process? Well, it all starts with a big decision. You have to choose your quitting path. Really, you've got two main paths to choose from. Path number one is quitting abruptly, going cold turkey. It's the most direct way, for sure, but man, the withdrawal can hit you like a ton of bricks. The other option is gradual reduction. This is a bit easier on your body, less of a shock, but it takes a ton more self-discipline. Now, if you go with the gradual path, you have to have a structure. This is non-negotiable. Use SMART goals. What does that mean? It means don't just say, I'll smoke less. No, you have to be specific. Say something like, I'm going to go from 20 cigarettes a day down to 15, and I'm going to do it within 1 week. See? It's specific, you can measure it, and it gives you a real target to aim for. Okay, but here's the thing. No matter which path you pick, you are going to face urges. That is a 100% guarantee. So let's get tactical. Let's talk about the in-the-moment tricks you can use to win that battle when the craving hits. First up is something called the nothing rule. And it sounds almost ridiculously simple, but trust me, it's so powerful. When that urge hits you, you do nothing. Seriously, you don't fight it, you don't act on it, you just sit there with that uncomfortable feeling and watch it. Because what you'll realize is that urges are like waves in the ocean. They build up, they hit a peak, and then they just fade away. Every time. Now, if sitting there and doing nothing feels totally impossible, okay, try this, the 10-minute trick. Instead of telling yourself that huge, scary lie, I can never do this again, just make a small deal with yourself. Say, okay, brain, I hear you. I can do it, but I'm going to wait 10 minutes. Just delaying it for 10 minutes is enough to break that panic of forever, and it gives the craving time to lose its power. So what do you do for those 10 minutes? Anything to distract your brain. Go for a quick walk, pick up a book, meditate, or just focus on taking a few deep breaths. You know, you could even grab a journal and write down what triggered the urge. That way, you're turning what feels like a weak moment into a moment of strength and learning. And listen, this is so important. If these little tricks and tools aren't enough, you have to know that seeking professional help is a sign of incredible strength.
It is not weakness. It's not admitting you failed. It's you deciding you're going to succeed, no matter what it takes. Just overcoming that hurdle to say, I need help, that's a huge step. So, all these tricks are great for winning the little battles, moment to moment. But to win the war, you have to play the long game. And that means shifting your entire mindset. This is all about changing the story you tell yourself. So instead of thinking, ugh, I'm suffering from withdrawal, try reframing it to, my body is healing right now. Instead of, I feel so empty without it, try, I'm creating space in my life for new amazing things. This isn't just playing with words, you guys. It genuinely changes how you experience the entire journey.
But let's be real for a second. There's the big, scary question that's probably in the back of your mind, the one that brings up so much fear. What happens if you slip up? What happens if you fail?
I want you to think about it like this. A relapse is not the end. It doesn't send you all the way back to the start. It's just a pothole on a very long road. I mean, think about it. If you're driving and you get a flat tire, you don't turn the car around and drive all the way back to where you started, right? No, you change the tire and you keep going.
Look, it's totally normal to feel angry or bored or anxious during all of this. The whole key is to find new, healthy ways to cope with those feelings. Things like exercise, meditation, or just talking to people you love and trust. Those are your new tools. And learning to just sit with discomfort, knowing it's temporary, that's a genuine superpower. Because in the end, quitting, that's really just the first step. The real challenge, but also the real opportunity, is relearning how to live. You've created all this new space in your life. So the only question left to answer is, what incredible things are you going to fill it with?